really like to think of anything that I have the ability to exercise my sense of like influence through as a part of my body. So obviously I have hands to manipulate objects, and then maybe less obviously I have a like mental or energetic sense of belief or conviction or doubt or emotion that I also use to manipulate other types of things. And I think it's important to have a frame of reference that is at least open to this way of relating things to each other, in how I notice that it provides a higher level of functionality, specifically in relation to becoming free from the unnecessary suffering caused by chronically invested in thought activity or mentally produced narratives, or in other words, pretending that the symbols created by the mind to represent reality are reality or have the same substance as reality. So I think there's a lot of layers to this, but the one I want to get at is language. I think language on the surface level is the most relevant and easily by which we are manipulated by ourselves. Only in the sense that, let's see, an analogy that I could draw is if I'm trying to run in a straight line and I'm holding onto a rope tied, or a leash tied to a dog that's running all over the place, trying to chase cats and sniff bushes and do the things that a dog is interested in doing that are not really relevant to my path most of the time, unless I train it and discipline it and reprogram it to, through fear and desire based Pavlovian force, bend this animal to my will. And that works, right? We see a lot of people who are very successful that do that, and they have a lot of all the great things in life, and they succeed in teaching other people how to do the same. And like, I don't think I'd ever speak out against that per se. I've also certainly succeeded at doing it. And I just it's just not for me right now, and probably ever again, at least in the same way. So the real thing here is for me to let go of the fucking leash. And the nice thing is, if you just love a dog and really support it and learn how to communicate with it and understand its communication, it will do the same towards you. It will learn what you are about by observing you carefully, because now it's in a different dynamic, and it will follow you until the time is right for it to go away and take care of itself, and then it will come back. And I think that there's a much deeper, richer, more harmonious and enjoyable and free for both sides of this dynamic kind of experience. So anyway, I love that analogy. I got to go pretty deep with that. And drawing it back to this idea of language, language is the dog. Belief is the leash. I can use belief like a tool to attach my momentum to the agenda of a narrative or a perspective. And the thing about language, especially when I'm using language to coordinate with other people, it cannot go the way that I am going. It can get close. It can eventually end up there. And it works, right? And we use it effectively. But when I'm not using it, when I'm sitting alone at night in my bed trying to sleep, you know, what then? When I'm alone with my thoughts, when I'm alone in a room with nothing to do, nothing to look at for an entire day, can I find peace or stillness or pleasantness with nothing to entertain or train or convince the dog of my mental activity to do what I want it to do? And I would say that the answer comes in learning what it feels like to take off the leash, and then learning what it feels like to let go of, really it's just another leash on another dog that's a little deeper down, the one that says you're supposed to control that dog. It's bad to let it run wild because then ... and you know, infinitely creative in how things can go wrong. So, and that, you know, that one comes with a much deeper feeling, one that feels much more authoritative, and it can also be let go of. And then you can watch both of these dogs do their thing without tugging you with them, and over time, and it also can happen immediately, this can become your new default, where now I'm putting the leash on the dog of believing in what my thoughts are saying when it feels right. And the funny thing about it is, what happens is you begin to see more and more clearly that the thoughts are never actually real. What they have to say is never technically true. And so the ability and the need to leash them with that sense of projected validity diminishes over time. And what happens over time, again, we go back to the metaphor, is the dog kind of learns to really trust you, and then serve you, and then learn your language, which doesn't need words. And in the same way, that aspect of our being, that function of our brain that manifests for most of us almost all the time nonstop as thoughts that we have no control over and that really terrorize us if we're not giving them treats or toys or, you know, putting them in the kennel or just like doing something big to escape them in some way. We find that they harmonize with us, and what that feels like and sounds like internally is stillness and silence and peace, and sometimes kind of bliss, and sometimes really big bliss. And the best part is, because now you're working together, your intelligence is compounded instead of divided between these two sort of ways of using intelligence. So anyway, I'm so distracted driving to this place. I don't actually know where it is, so I will undivide myself and leave it at that. But I really like this this line of description, so maybe I'll make another video about it.